Fortnite Chapter 3 just ended, so now seems like the perfect time to take a look back at the past year and make some Fortnite Chapter 3 LEGO sets. My goal in this video is to make a custom set based off of each season from Chapter 3, with each set having something unique from each season. I also have a challenge for myself, and if you've been watching me for a while, then you know that vehicles are not my strong suit, so in this video, I've challenged myself to build 3 different vehicles. And the last one ended up being one of my favorite builds that I've made on this channel, so stay tuned. Anyway, let's get started with set number 1, which is based off of Winterfest from Chapter 3 Season 1. More specifically, this set is going to be based off of Sergeant Winter's Christmas truck, where he drove around the map and gave presents to everyone, unless you made him mad. And since Christmas is coming soon, I knew this was a set I had to make, so I designed some figures, built the sets, and rendered it all up, and the set was done. So starting off with the figures, the first one is of course, Sergeant Winter himself. Sergeant Winter has a new hairpiece that allows for his binoculars to clip on. He has a serious facial expression as well as the Santa Claus beard piece in white. His right arm is all tatted up, and he has some pockets and a holster on his torso. He has a belt as well as dark red pants, and finally he has some dark brown boots. Next is Crackshot, the Nutcracker skin. However, Mecha Bricks did not have the hat hair mold used for the new Nutcracker minifigure, so I had to make my own. His facial expression has the signature Nutcracker teeth, and he's wearing a red uniform with a black belt, as well as some dual molded legs to show his white pants and black boots. The final minifigure in this set is Krisabelle. She uses the Hermione Granger hairpiece in dark brown, and she has a smiling facial expression with some glasses. She's wearing a red shirt with dual molded arms, she has a red skirt, and finally she has some brown shoes and some socks. Before we get on to the main build, I'd just like to show that I made a snowball launcher using some pretty common pieces, including some tiles, a snot brick, as well as a white sphere for the snowball. Moving on to the main build, which is of course the most festive semi-truck you've ever seen. On the front, you can see the resemblance of the Crackshot skin's face, as well as a bumper that has a candy cane pattern. You can also see the 2x6 windshield, as well as some golden rear view mirrors. On the side, you can see the different colored wheels, as well as a door and some ladders. You can put Sergeant Winter in the front and have him drive, but if you've played the game before, then you know that he usually stands on the back and throws presents at people. On the back, you can see that it's all tiled off with red and dark green, and you can also see Sergeant Winter's giant green, red, and gold throne. So here's the set all together, and here's the box art that I made. Anyway, on to the next set, and we're gonna be jumping around a little bit now because the next set is from Season 3. The idea I had for this set is to have one figure from the Battle Pass, a pickup truck, and a reality plant, which proved to be a lot harder to design than I had anticipated. The figure I ended up deciding on was Evie, since she was basically the face of all the promotional material for Season 3. Anyway, she uses the Luke Skywalker hairpiece, and she has a cocky facial expression with red glasses and red lipstick. She's wearing a sleeveless top with an X on it, and she has red pants, and finally her accessory is a pistol with a dark red wrap. Then we have the build for the reality plant, which, like I mentioned earlier, ended up being a little bit harder to design than I had initially anticipated. As you can see, it's ripe with a legendary fruit, and I used some foliage pieces in blue and different shades of purple to make the leaves. The stem uses a bunch of different green pieces, and it all sits on a couple of dark tan plates. The last part of the set is the pickup truck, which is also the second vehicle in this video. It uses a color palette of dark orange and light gray, and as you can see, there are some dark blue chairs, as well as 4 tires, and a bed in the back, which can actually open up. So here's the set all together, and as you can see, there's not a ton to it, but I think it encapsulates the feel of Season 3 pretty well. Anyway, here's the box art that I made, and yeah, that's all for this set. Let's move on to set number 3. Real quick, I just started an Instagram, and I'm doing Fortnite and Stranger Things LEGO advent calendars over there, so if that interests you, maybe go check it out. And also, I have a creator code, which is just Brickaniac, so if you want to use that on the new Battle Pass to support me, I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, let's get back to what you guys came for, which is of course the sets, and this next one is based off of the most recent season of Chapter 3, which is of course Chapter 3 Season 4. However, I ran into a problem, which was that the theme of the season is chrome, which is not only, in my opinion, kind of stupid, it also makes for some really ugly LEGO sets. So I decided, instead of making an entirely chrome location, to make an accessory pack type set, including some of the most important things from Season 4. Starting off with the Paradigm, we can see that she has a sand blue helmet, as well as dual molded arms and legs. Just like the other members of the 7, you can see that her face has red markings on it, and her torso has armor with a brown belt. Next is another Christmas skin. I don't know if I'm just feeling extra festive this year, but I wanted to include this guy, and it's Codename Elf. He has a new hair hat mold with a green elf hat, as well as some combed over yellow hair. He has a grinning expression, as well as a white bandana around his neck. He has a green shirt, as well as a belt, and finally, he has dual molded legs. Lastly, I know that I said that I didn't want to make a fully chrome location, and that I kind of think that the chrome theme is stupid, because it is. However, there's absolutely no denying that chrome was a big part of the last season, so I wanted to represent it somehow. So I decided to make the chrome punk skin. He uses a transparent red headpiece with a chrome jack-o'-lantern on top. He has a chrome and black hoodie with dual molded arms and pockets, and finally he has black legs. The build for the set is a supply drop, more specifically a dial-a-drop. The supply drop is built using 8 hot air balloon pieces in yellow. They are attached to some octagon pieces which you can clip onto and attach to the box which holds all the items in it. And to the right of that you can see the Codename Elf skin holding an olive green walkie-talkie representing the dial-a-drop itself. Since this is an accessory pack, you can see the rest of the build is just smaller builds, such as this llama, a glider which you can hold onto. It's meant to just be the default glider, and finally a goo gun. So here's the set all together, and here's the box art that I made, which is actually taller than it is wide, which is pretty uncommon for LEGO sets, so it's always fun to see. Now for the last set, based off of Chapter 3, Season 2, and as you'll hopefully remember, at the beginning of the video, I challenged myself to build 3 unique vehicles, and I still have one left. And this last one is going to be the hardest one yet, because I'm going to be attempting to build a tank. My general plan for the set is to include, of course, a tank, as well as a gas station, and 3 unique figures. So let's start off with those. First off is Sash Sergeant. He has a brown cowboy hat and a grinning facial expression, as well as an orange bandana and a sash with all of his badges on it. He has a pocket on the bottom right hand corner of his torso. He's sleeveless and he has olive green gloves. He also has a brown belt, as well as brown boots, and finally he has dual molded legs with some pockets on them. I've been watching a lot of the World Cup recently, and because of that I decided to include Clinical Crosser. She's one of the OG soccer skins, and she has a black ponytail as well as a grinning facial expression. She's wearing a purple jersey with dual molded arms and blue stripes on the torso and legs, and finally she has blue cleats. The last figure in this video and in this set is the blue team leader. She has a blue beanie with some hair sticking out and a worried facial expression. She's wearing a white tank top with a blue stripe on it, as well as some dog tags around her neck. She also has black gloves and finally black legs. So here we have the tank, the 3rd vehicle in this video, and I'm just so happy with it. It's probably one of my favorite things I've ever built on this channel, and even though it's pretty small, it includes all the necessary details and sloping, and it can even include 2 minifigures. One of the minifigures can sit on the inside, which can be accessed by hinging open the top, as you can see here. The inside is somewhat cramped, but I prefer to call it cozy, and as you can see, it can fit 1 minifigure, and it has some controls, but not much else. The other minifigure can sit on the turret, and as you can see, there's a seat with the turret, and it can also spin around 360 degrees with the cannon, which is controlled by the person on the inside. Now, you might notice that on the side, the treads are brick built and don't use actual tread pieces, and that was to maintain the scale. But don't worry, because on the bottom, I've put some 2x2 circular bottom tiles, which allow you to just slide it around just as easily as you would with wheels or treads. The other main build for the set is the gas station, which as you can see, uses a main color palette of white, red, and blue. In the front, you can see 2 gas pumps, which are attached by only 1 stud, which is part of a plate feature which allows you to just flick them and pretend like they're exploding. On the side is a yellow shotgun vending machine, and you can see that the Clinical Crosser has recently bought a shotgun. The interior of the gas station is pretty simple, but it gets the job done. As you can see, the Sash Sergeant has just opened a chest, and it has a gun with some mats in it, and you can also see that the floor is tiled off with a checkerboard pattern. Then behind the Sash Sergeant is a checkout counter, as well as a Yum Der Burger poster on the wall. So here's the set all together, and here's the box art that I made for the set. Anyway, if you liked this video, then make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Make sure to check me out on Instagram and use code BRICANIAC. But that's about all I have for you guys today. Have a great day, and go build something awesome.